We're going to talk with the chief executive of Deutsche Telekom, Europe's largest telephone company. It did post an unexpected fourth quarter loss, analysts expecting a profit. But Chief Executive Rene Obermann, the most important thing for you is that it was a small net profit, excluding some write-downs in your Greek unit, correct?
Our adjusted earnings were 3.4 billion. But we had some extraordinary write-offs this year, for instance, on our UK business, or due to interest rate increases and country-specific risks in southern Eastern Europe. So overall, operationally, though, fundamentals were good. We had a slight increase in revenues and also in profitability, and we accomplished our targets, which we had set in April, of 20.7 billion in EBITDA and about 7 billion in free cash flow. So overall, despite the economic crisis, it's fair to say we performed.
And yet the outlook appears to disappoint investors and shares are lower. Can you say what it is in particular that's making you and them cautious about 2010?
Well, the market response this morning is moderate. The outlook is a little more conservative than for 2009, simply because we expect slight increase or more higher increase in unemployment, consumer spendings also to be under pressure, and therefore we'd like to be a bit prudent in our forecasts and to reflect that in 2010. So the business is not going to be easier than in 2009, and therefore we think it's more prudent to be a bit more conservative. And 20 billion still is the expected EBITDA. About 6.2 billion is the expected cash flow. But importantly, though, we give our investors a better clarity over the next 3 years in terms of dividend.
Well, you split the return into shareholders into dividends and share buybacks. Why not put it all into dividends at the moment?
Well, we'd like to keep the share buyback as a tactical instrument, particularly because we think the stock is valued very low. So we'd like to keep that as an additional instrument, and it's part of the shareholder remuneration scheme. I mean, bear in mind the 70 cent which we have forecasted for the next 3 years. That's a floor, and it's a very attractive dividend if you compare it to today's stock price.
Now, you do have a forecast for more expense cuts. You're really working on the bottom line. When do you see top-line growth?
Look, classical telco industry at the moment is struggling with top-line growth. We, however, have identified a couple of areas where we can grow, i.e. in the mobile internet space or in IP-based value-add services or in cloud computing. So we have a number of areas where we do grow, but we also have a couple of areas where growth is hard or not possible, where revenues are declining. For next year, we are, as I said earlier on, pretty conservative with our estimations, and therefore we don't forecast any major or any improvements at the moment, but a slight decrease.
All right, Rene Obermann, thank you very much. Chief Executive of Deutsche Telekom, thanks for joining us this morning.